And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Station Grill at Malillo's here for the Lowellville Rockets show. DJ Oakley here. You know this guy, Andrew Mamula, the head coach of the Lowellville Rockets, the 9-0 Lowellville Rockets. And I told you, Coach, it's not going to take long for people to recognize and see that you're on the air. Welcome. First off, thanks for joining us. We got you. We got some of your ball players here tonight at this beautiful facility, home of, I hear, the Rockets, because there's a lot of after game press conferences that happen here in Lowellville. So thank you to them, and certainly thank you to you, my friend.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having us on.
Our pleasure.
Anytime you guys do great coverage, and
thank you.
Anytime we can feature our players or get them, some attention, we love to do it. But thank you for stopping down. And this, after our alumni game, we had an alumni game with, my team, my senior year, the 2002 team, the 1972 team. My father-in-law was on it. They hosted a little after party for us, and they treated us very well down here. So anytime we can draw some attention to some local businesses, we love to, because they got great food, great service, and a couple of great owners. So they do a great job.
I love it, and that leads right into our first question. I mean, this is a community, this is a village that loves Lowellville Rockets anything, and especially loves their football. What does it mean to a coach to kind of take it on and say, hey, I'm the lead dog of this, and we're going to make you proud. 9-0, awful proud this year.
Yeah, it's home for me. So, I grew up, a few blocks over.
Sure.
So it's one of those things where if you're from here, you understand it. If you're not, you really don't. It's hard for somebody outside of this community to come in and be successful, because, sometimes I don't think, the community's willing to have an outsider that sometimes they want one of their own, it looks like. And it's one of those where it's no fault of the guys that have come before me. It's just, it's a tough community that has, high standards. And, I hope we're meeting those standards this year. We're 9-0. We got some great players that are doing some great things. And so, I just want to make the community proud, because again, it's my home, and you always want to make your home proud.
When you turn around and you see those stands full of the blue and gold, do you ever take moments to kind of mental snapshot?
Yeah, honestly, when I'm on the sideline, I'm always looking for my wife. She was a Lowellville graduate. My son, my family, my sisters come to our games and support us. So, for me, it's always looking at the family. Obviously the community, that's for the kids. That's great, but it's for me, it's always about my family and how they support me, and they've always supported me. Growing up, coming to all my games. My parents were always there supporting me, and it's that's what makes it special. Is when we say community, we also mean family, and for that, we have older brothers on staff coaching. We have a dad that's coaching his son, and I think that's the great thing about high school sports, is you get that family aspect, and it's authentic. You get college coaches that say we're a family. When you're bringing guys from all over the country, it doesn't feel like a real family. And this trust me, this town, it feels like a family.
You talk about
the good and the bad.
Yeah, well, that's it too. You talked about authenticity. When you guys set kind of course for this 2022 season, there's a lot of people that said you were the team, and you guys have proved them right at 9-0. What were some of the early conversations to this year's seniors and this year's team about what and how good this team could be?
My goal was simple. I wanted them to be the best Lowellville team ever. It's out there for the taking. As a community, we've failed in the postseason. It's, we've won league titles, we've had undefeated seasons, but we haven't been a community that's had postseason success in football, especially. And that's our goal, is we want to go farther than any Lowellville team has went. This was the class that I thought could do it. We built up to it. We had great seniors last year that put us on the right direction. And, it just wasn't their time yet. It was, we talked about with those seniors is, as a program, you can't just build it overnight. You got to take steps to get to your goals. And those seniors last year put us on the path. And now these seniors are taking us there. And we hope that they're the group that has that breakthrough. And I think they can do it. Absolutely. I think we have the talent to do it. I have the staff that supports me in the ways I need to do it. And I think we have the community to do it. So, that's the goal, and that's the expectation.
Being a guy that's a history buff around here, what's this team's calling card?
As far as what we do well,
yes.
Obviously, it's we're aggressive.
Yeah.
We're aggressive in everything we do. Special team, we don't play not to lose. You see a lot of teams that's they're playing not to lose.
Yep.
We're not afraid. Like, if we're gonna fail, we're gonna fail spectacularly. And so we're gonna go out and we're gonna do things that maybe are a little unconventional, that maybe are overly aggressive. But at the end of the night, we're gonna go to bed and we're gonna feel like we did everything we could to win the game. And that's kind of been my attitude since I got here, is that we're not gonna let fear dictate anything to us. Is that we are who we are, and we're gonna accept it, and we're gonna we're going to dictate a lot of things.
I was really interested this week, as a lot of people I think were, with Mineral Ridge. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the lowest scoring output thus far this season, 21.
For us, yes.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, I know when I talked to the Ridge bunch, they said they want to be more physical than you were, and they certainly brought it to your front door. But walking away with a win after that, that's got to make you feel good about walking into those playoffs in a couple weeks.
Well, that's what the playoffs looks like.
Yep.
The playoffs isn't 80 degrees and sunny the first week of the season where we can spread it out and sling it. You got to be tough. You got to be physical. Teams are running downhill at you. You got to have a couple big plays offensively. You have to play good special teams. Like that's the formula in Northeast Ohio. If we were in South Florida, it'd be a little bit different, but I know where we're from. I'm from here. So I understand that. I understand what we have to do to be successful. And that was basically a free preview of the playoffs for us. Mineral Ridge gave us a great test and we passed that first test, but there's more tests that we have to take.
Yeah, and one of those tests is coming up. Western Reserve, that's another physical ball team with a great head ball coach. Expectations for this week out of your guys?
It's senior night, so obviously, anytime we can feature our seniors and kind of send them off. I mean, obviously, it's not a send off, but anytime we can, make the night about them, it is a special night to, we're lucky we get a home game, but another home game in the playoffs. But anytime you can feature your kids at home, we want to do that. So we're trying to put some things in that feature them, but at the same point, we've clinched a lot of things and accomplished a lot of goals, but there's still a lot out there. We don't want to share a league title. We don't want to have one loss. We don't want to let reserve in the playoffs. So there's a lot of things that maybe on our end that we've already sewn up, but it's more about, these are teams that for the last 10, 15 years have put it on us, and we don't want to share anymore. We want to take from them what they've taken from us for the last 10, 15 years. And that's really what this week's going to be about is taking something away from somebody else.
So it's interesting because we're doing a kind of a projection show on Friday at 10:30. And one of the projections we have early on is the possibility of you playing Western Reserve again next week. So from a coach's perspective, is it one of those things where you don't care what you show on tape this week because you're going to be the same team next week that you are this week? Or do you kind of keep some of those things close to the vest?
In week 10, we're as a staff, we're not afraid to show what we are and who we are and then kind of make adjustments from there. So, we're not going to keep anything hidden. We're not going to play conservatively in case we see them again. We're going to go out and we're going to try to win this week. And if things don't go our way, then we sure as heck better try to win next week. So there's not much that we've kept hidden or kept away. I mean, we at this point we know who we are and we like who we are and we're going to show it every Friday night. And we hope to show it this week.
Well, I hope you like who you are because you guys are a pretty darn good ball club. Let's talk about the seniors. You alluded to them earlier. How special is this group to this community, this team, this program, this legacy?
So, I mean, they're a group coming up that they were always successful, in the Little Rockets, they were successful. In junior high, they were successful. And, one of my first experiences, I was coaching middle school track at Poland, and we had a really good, junior high track team at Poland. And I saw these guys, running the 4x4 with some of the best kids I ever had at Poland. And they were every bit as athletic as those kids. And seeing that, it was, wow, like they're going to be special, especially at a small school. If you can keep that group of core kids at a small school, which it's hard to do when they're that talented. I mean, there was enough talent there that, you get some other schools, sniffing around trying to, we got better opportunities here. And it just so happened it worked out where, there was an opportunity for me to come down here and let these kids know that I'm going to put you in a position to be successful because you have all the talent in the world. At this type of district, you can be a star. And I let them know that from day one. And I think I've held up my end of the bargain and they've definitely held up theirs. And I think the community knows that. That's where the expectations were. Is we had a little bit of a losing culture for a while there, whereas these kids didn't. Like they were kind of in that bubble of they've always had success, while maybe different levels didn't have that success, and so that kind of insulated from some of those losing habits that you sometimes see that permeate through a program. They really didn't have that because they were used to being winners.
So when you grew up a Lowellville kid, you understand the Lowellville way and what it's like to be from this area. These guys have won pretty much their entire lives. Not that they haven't faced adversity, but what kind of things have you shown them about, okay, you can still learn by winning instead of having to lose and figure out what to do right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's always the mantra that, you learn more in a loss than a win.
Right.
So, some of the lessons we are still learning. There's things where even in a win where, I've been in halftime of games where, we have a continuous clock, we're winning, and I'm not happy.
Right.
And I make sure the kids know that I'm not happy because we're not winning the right way. We're not playing the right way. And the things we're doing, even though we're being successful, aren't necessarily going to be repeatable and lead to future success. So, that's been the thing this year is that there've been a couple blowups in the locker room where, the kids come in, they're feeling good. And, after talking with my staff, hearing some things I don't like, and there's things we have to address because, once you get to the playoffs, you can't, you don't get to learn from your mistakes in the playoff. Your lesson is your football career is basically over.
One game tournament.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where, I learned some lessons when I was in school, in the playoffs, and it's not a free lesson. There's a price to pay. So we're trying to, hopefully teach those lessons now so that they don't have to pay that price.
All right. 3 guys specifically that are here tonight. Let's start with Brady Banofsky. What's he mean?
He's unbelievable. He's one of the best athletes I've ever seen at a small school, one of the toughest kids I've ever seen. He's the kid that when I first watched Lowellville film that jumped off at me as a freshman. They had some special players. His older brother was a good player, obviously, Vinny, but he's the one that when you saw, he was a special kid. And every week, every play, he's competitive. He always does something astonishing for me, and I really think it's his competitive spirit that when I got to see him when his older brother Cole was on the team, everything was a competition. Who can flip a water bottle the best? Who can, tie their shoe the fast? Everything was a competition, and it's that type of competition that's what breeds winners, is when you're that competitive.
All right, let's move on to the next one. The Gronk of our area, Anthony Luceni. What does he mean to you?
Just one of those kids that he's good at everything he does. If you're going to play flip cup, or throw a ring around a something, he's going to be the best at it. And it's just one of those things where he's just naturally gifted. A good track athlete, good basketball, good football. Whatever he does, he's good at. Even on our football team, some weeks you're playing linebacker, some weeks you're putting your hand on the ground, some weeks we're splitting you out at receiver. He does all those things well, and it's just to have that type of talent in that size where you can do a bunch of different things. It's great.
And then you've got an above-average defensive back in Vinny Ballone, who has 3 interceptions, and he's an okay quarterback too, with like 450 touchdown passes this year. What does a guy like that mean to you?
Obviously he's the engine that makes it go. We have these great seniors, but there's a lot on his plate. I don't know that I, as a player, could do what he does. He has more pressure most weeks than I do. I get to go out and coach, but he's the one back there. He's the one everyone's talking about. And when you're the guy that everyone's talking about, there's a lot of people that want to see you fail.
Yep.
And they're looking for anything wrong with his game, everything he does wrong. And there's people rooting for, as sad as it is, a high school kid to fail. And it's to carry that weight every week, but to back it up. That's the most impressive thing to me is, as a 17, 18-year-old kid, I couldn't do it.
Nope.
But he's doing it for us. We trust him with the offense. Defensively, he's a vocal leader out there. We try to not play him every situation just because there's a danger in doing that, but he's too valuable not to. Last week he had an interception. He made a couple touchdown saving tackles, and we got to ride with the guy that's our leader, and we got to trust that he's going to make the play and he's going to do the smart thing and put himself out of harm's way. Last week he had to return a kickoff, so we had our hands team out there, and he ran out of bounds. So he's just a kid that's always making the right decision, always making the smart play.
So a question I asked you before we got on camera was, as a member of the media, a guy that promotes these guys constantly, how do you not get upset when you don't see some of the accolades that your guys should be getting, the Mr. Footballs, the D7, first teamers, that kind of stuff that they should get and they should be no-brainers? How do you not get super upset and aggressive about that?
Honestly, that's not what it's about for us. It's, about team success and the lessons you learn in football. And those things are nice, and they are. And as a coach, you always want to feature your guys and give them attention. And local media like you guys and some other guys, they've done a great job of featuring them. I was getting some emails this week about people that want to interview Vinny. So obviously, it's like a son. You want what's best for them. You want them to have all that good, positive attention. But at the end of the day, it's, for us, it's about winning football games. And if those things come, they come. But we understand we're a Division 7 school. We haven't won a playoff game. So it's, with Bo Brungard and Springfield and some of the accolades he got, that was because he made the run. For as good as he was statistically and as good as the things he did on the field, he was a winner. And if I can assure you that if we're still playing at the end of November, we're going to get all the attention we deserve at
Well,
that point.
if you're still playing at the end of November, we'll still be there for you. We're excited for you. One question I have for you, maybe something for the guys. What's one question you might want kind of answered from these three jabronis around you?
Oh, I'm used to answering questions. I'm not used to asking.
Is there
questions.
anything you want to know about them?
Oh, sometimes it's better not to know.
I was going to say, you might know too much already.
So I was going to say, in Lowellville, there's a lot of things that I know that I don't think they're aware of. So to be honest, sometimes it's better not to know things.
Coach, we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you.
9-0,
the Lowellville Rockets coming to a theater near you here on YSN.